Okay, let's get started. Let's everybody recite it together in the audible voice, if possible. Om Ajnanam
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य
Jnananjana Salakaya
ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया
Chakshurulmitam
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन
Yena
तस्मै
Mai Shri
श्रीगुरवे
Gurave
नमः।
Namaha Shri Chaitanya
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
Manobhishtam
स्थापितं
Sthapitam
येन भूतले
Swayam Rupa
रूपा कदा
Kakadam
मह्यं
Mayham Dadati Swapadam Padantikam
स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं
Vandeham Sri Guru
श्रीगुरो
Suta
श्रीयुतपादकमलं
Padakamalam Shri
श्रीगुरुं
Guru Vaishnavamscha
वैष्णवांश्च
Shri
श्रीरूपं
Rupam
साग्रजातं
Sagrajatam Shahagana
सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं
Raghunathanvitam Tam
तं
Sajiv
सजीवं
Sadvaitam
साद्वैतं सावधूतं
Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam
चैतन्यदेवं
Shri
श्रीराधा
Radha
कृष्ण
Krishna Pada
पादान्
Sahagana
सहगण ललिता
Lalita Shri Vivithakanvitam
श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च
Shri Krishna Shri
हे कृष्ण
Krishna
करुणा सिंधु
Chaitanya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya. Did I miss the where? Okay.
हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु
He Krishna Karuna
करुणा
Sindhu
सिंधो
Sindhu Dina Bandhu
दीनबन्धो
Jagat
जगत्पते
Pate
गोपेशा
Gopesha
गोपिका
Gopika
कान्ता
Kantanta Radha
राधे
Kanta
कान्ता
Kanta
नमोऽस्तु ते
Namostute Tapta
तप्त
Kanchana
काञ्चन
Kanchana
गौर
Gaurange Radhe
राधे
Vrindavaneshwari
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
Vrishnavanu
वृषभानुसुते देवी
Devi
प्रणमामि
Pranamami Hari
हरिप्रिये
Priye Vancha
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
Kalpatruभ्यश्च Kripa
कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः
Sindhu
एव
Bevacha
च
Patitanam
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
Namo
नमः।
Namah Jai Shri Krishna
श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य
Chaitanya Prabhu
प्रभु नित्यानन्द
Nityananda Shri
श्री अद्वैता
Advaita
गदाधर
Gadadhara
श्रीवासादि
Shivasadi Gaur
गौरभक्तवृन्द
Bhakta Vrinda Hare
हरे कृष्णा
Krishna
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna Hare
हरे
Hare
हरे हरे
Hare
राम
Rama
हरे
Hare
राम
Rama Rama
राम राम
Rama
हरे
Hare.
हरे।
Let's pray deeply to the Guru, to the Prabhupada, to all the Parampara, that to Krishna, that we are able to learn the subject matter and the Lord reveals the real knowledge in our life so that we can utilize it in our daily life. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna Shiva Prabhu. Yeah, come here, sit here, Prabhuji. Your family is back?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, that's good. Oh, man. Wonderful. Are they doing okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Great.
Still jet lagged. So.
Jet lagged? Okay, okay, very good.
You still came though.
Yeah,
You still came.
yes.
Yeah, I
So,
was hoping to get them, but
mhm.
are you hoping to get them too? Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's not
So,
nice.
yeah, yeah.
They saw the park and I observed they are still in complete jet lag. They might sleep.
Okay, okay. Then no worries, Prabhuji, no problem. Okay.
Did notice.
Yes, definitely. So, I just wanted to reflect on one part of the prayer. When we are thinking about Panch Tattva mantra, this is called Panch Tattva. Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Shadi, Gaura Bhaktivinoda. So typically when thinking of Krishna, we think of Krishna. But see how Krishna wants us to think. And this was given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came as the devotee. He to set an example how to be a good devotee, right? How to be a devotee. So the complete understanding of God is God Himself, God's God's expansion. So God expands as Narayana, Vishnu, Varaha, all those. They are and Krishna, they are the same. They're expanding, right? They're expanding. They exist simultaneously. So God himself as a Krishna, his expansion, then his incarnation. So incarnation, they may have part of his power, right? Their incarnation. Like for example, Vishnu Tattva, right? So Vishnu Tattva like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. All right, so these are incarnation, right? So they are in
the 22 forms or something like
so,
that.
so we talked. So see, there are Dasa Avatar. We hear due to the movie it became famous. Bhagavatam talks about 24 or 28 incarnation, but then he says that there are innumerable incarnation or expansion of Krishna. He says that, right? So Krishna has innumerable expansion. What we know through Bhagavatam is around 24 or 40, 28, one of those number. Okay, and then so that's so okay. So Krishna's expansion. Krishna's incarnation. Expansion and incarnation are two different. Expansion is exactly like Krishna. It's just the one shows as four-handed form, one that shows as two-handed form, but their power is exactly the same. Okay, so that's expansion. Incarnation is it can vary in the power. They appear for example Buddha. Buddha is incarnation. He came to stop the meat eating, and for that he has to say that Veda. I don't believe in Veda. Right? So those incarnation came, they come for the purpose. The third is his energy, because whenever there is an energetic person, there is energy. You are Sridhar is a person, but Sridhar has an energy, right? Like he can get the things done also, right? So it is Lord's energy. Of course, our energy is very limited. Lord's energy is like unlimited energy, and the fifth is pure devotee. So so this is what makes when God thinks of the manifestation, he doesn't differentiate. He thinks that we are all his part and parcel. We don't think that we are part and parcel. That's our problem, right? So when we are praying, we should be thinking that I am praying to the God, all his expansion. Let's not distinguish, okay, this is bigger, that is bigger. All his expansion, all his incarnation, his energy, right? So some say, oh, God is Nirakar. God has the Nirakar form, but he is not only Nirakar. We cannot say God is only Nirakar. That is the highest, and then there is no form. That is the wrong understanding. So God's energy, and then God's pure devotee. Pure devotee, they come under as the part of God. So God doesn't distinguish, Krishna doesn't distinguishes between himself and the pure devotee. In fact, if somebody is a pure devotee, he becomes their servant. Even Bali Maharaj's servant, right? He becomes their gatekeeper. For Arjuna, he became the Sarathi, right? So that's how we should understand. So this is a very powerful mantra. Whenever we are chanting, recommend that it's good before starting any round of chanting. We can recite Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. So Shri Krishna Chaitanya himself as a God, Prabhu Nityananda is expansion, Advaita Acharya is his incarnation, and Srivasadi is all the
Associates.
yes, pure bhaktas, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, right? All the associates came. Gadadhar is his energy, his energy, right? So like this, it is calling out all the five facets which we just discussed. So so it has had a wonderful meaning. If you just go and look into the introduction, there is a meaning. We have gone over it, but if you forget, you can just go and look over it. All right. With that, chapter 6, what we have covered so far in chapter 6? Any quick summary by anyone?
So, Tyahara.
We covered the Dhyana Yoga introduction, Prabhu.
Okay.
He talks, Krishna starts the chapter. He mentions about 3 levels of Dhyana Yoga, and where the first level is that how someone doesn't distinguish between, like, say, cold or warm weather. Second level, someone who doesn't distinguish the various things, like great things or menial things. Third one is like who doesn't distinguish between enemies and friends, or so.
Very good, Prabhuji. And before that, what was the
Ashtanga Yoga.
Yeah,
Ashtanga Yoga was introduced, Prabhu.
Okay, and how many levels are there in the Ashtanga Yoga?
There are 8 levels.
Very good. Very good. And what are those?
Yama, Niyama,
Niyama,
Asana,
Asana,
Pranayama,
Pranayama.
Pratyahara,
Wonderful.
Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, okay, so there are the eight different stages. Okay. And before that, before Krishna start talking about the Ashtanga Yoga, he glorifies the Nishkam Karma Yoga. He's telling that Nishkam Karma Yoga is the same for sannyasi and yogi are the same because they are focusing on the Nishkam Karma Yoga, right? So even we discussed that as a Girahastha, if one is able to control the mind, okay, and they are able to do the work without attachment, they are yogi. And yogi and sannyasi they are considered the one and the same because they have renounced. So sannyasi has renounced the object of association, while yogi is using all the objects, material objects, for Krishna's service. So in that way, both are renunciate. Okay, that's the important point we talked about. And we talked about the ashrama. We will discuss more. We covered a little bit on varna and ashrama both. Okay, and as the Bhagavad Gita proceeds, we'll talk a little bit more. Okay. So these are the 8 stages. The beginning stages is called Yoga Aruksha. And the advanced stages from 5 to 8 is called Yoga Ruddha. Okay. So those are advanced stages and these are the beginning stages. Okay. We talked about the different facets of yama, niyama, right? What does it really mean? So there are things in yama we talked about, in niyama we talked about what pratyahara means, how pratyahara is different from the dhyana and the samadhi, right? Dharana and samadhi. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah. प्रभु आगे आ जाओ, वहां बैठ जाओ. When you can take that प्रभु बैक सपोर्ट वाला शेयर ले लो. वो जिसको कोई यूज नहीं करता वो बुरा मानता है, मुझे बाद में कंप्लेन करता है कोई मुझे यूज नहीं कर रहा है. प्रभु टेक इट प्रभु टेक इट. उनको भी हम कृष्णा कॉन्शियस के लिए यूज कर रहे हैं ना, तो उनका भी भला होता है. देखो डिवोटी आके बैठा है मेरे पास. Okay, so mind can be a best friend or a worst enemy, right? So when the mind is a best friend, when it is under control.
It's controlled by intellect and Atman, as per the direction of Atman.
Very good, complete answer. Very good, very good. So Atma desire, intelligence says what to do, and then the mind does, and mind then directs it to the senses. That is the right sequence. Okay, and we covered this diagram also. This is from the Upanishad. How the Upanishad has designated. It's a metaphor, right? How the horses are the senses, the rein of the horses are the mind, the person driving is the intelligence, the soul is sitting, right? So we have to just make sure the soul is happy. In this picture, soul is really, like where I'm going, because senses are just pulling, it's not under control. The horses are just pulling it out of control. What has to happen? Intelligence. The person who is driving the horses should be strong so that they can control the horses with the strong rein, right? Not the loose rein, a strong rein. So that way, then the soul will be happy. Okay. So how to sharpen the intelligence? Mind is a tool which we should come to use. We can either climb up or fall down in life through our own mind. Okay. So this is what the 3 stages we talked about. Okay. Controlled mind, attain Paramatma, inner peace, right? Then the other is equal vision. One is they see the pebble, stone and gold is the same, and then final of all people, friends or enemies, they consider it to be equal. So these are advanced stages, but if we are sincere, we will be able to achieve this within this life. And we can see some people who are like that. Okay, they treat everybody equally. Now, we will start with the verse 10, but before, again, I'll cover it from a few verses here in the slides, and then we will go to the, this is a storytelling. Okay, so here it talks about the basic principle of Stang Yoga, that if one has to practice Stang Yoga, where they should sit, what should be their posture, what should be the place, and how to meditate, right? So asana should be made of kuśa grass, covered with deer skin and soft cloth. It should be neither too high nor too low, and body, neck, head should be in a straight line. Like we should be sitting just like that, which I'm not able to sit. But this is exactly what the purpose of all the asana is, able to sit straight. That is the purpose. Okay. And then proper places should be a clean place, pure, secluded. So it means nice. If so, for the Stang Yoga, you have to go into the jungle and you have to find this place, right? How to meditate? Mind should be controlled. Fearlessness. So if the snakes are coming, people are not fearful, like, because otherwise they will be getting scared. Oh, a snake is coming, lion is coming, tiger is coming, and one has to maintain the complete celibacy. So that's how one can start the yoga practice. Okay. This then.
What's the significance of covered with deerskin probably?
Prabhu, it is so, Shastra says it is considered to be clean. So deer skin, what the practically says that is also avoid the ants and other things which are coming. They don't climb on the deer skin. Okay. And deer skin, Shastra says few things. For example, shank. We play. What is shank?
It's a shelter of that.
No. What it is made of?
It actually come. It is made
Calcium,
by
Prabhu.
insect.
What, Prabhu?
Calcium.
It's made of bone. It's the animal bone, Prabhu.
Yes.
Okay, animal bone. Now I'm blowing. Animal bone is considered to be very dirty, right? But Shastra says, for example, gobar, the cow dung, it is clean, and we see the property also. It's a animal waste. We don't touch dog waste. We don't touch horses waste. We use something to touch it, right? But the cow dung, we just do it, and it is used in the puja also. So cow dung, deer skin, shank, all those are considered to be clean. Okay, Shastra says that. Now, scientific reason behind it. So for the of course, for the deer skin, it is of course soft. It gives the warmth, so people can sit comfortably. Yet and then of course, and it is not that one has to kill the deer. When the deer dies, you take out the skin. So people are not killing the deer to get the deer skin out of it. Okay, that would be so. And there in the jungle, there are a lot of deer skin one can find, and it avoids all the insects and all those things to climb on top of you. Okay. Why deer skin? They said, why not some other skin? I don't know. There must be some explanation somewhere, but I don't know. So, any other question, Prabhu, here? And how long it takes to be successful? Okay, so it says after long constant practice, the goal will be reached. So it takes time to reach the goal in a Stang Yoga. How long? It's a long constant practice, right? Our Rishi Munis, they have spent 1,000 years to go and practice, right? While Prahlad Maharaj was able to do in 6 months because he got the association of Narad Muni. So, okay, Dhruv Maharaj. Yes, Dhruv Maharaj, not Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj. Okay, and one has to have a regulated eating, sleeping, work, recreation. So then only one will be able to be successful. Okay, so lesson is neither too less nor too much. Then only yoga is of any value as such. This is a general principle, right? We should have a balanced life. Okay, we should have a balanced life. Excess of everything is little bad. So we will go and do read up to 18, and then we'll come back and finish here, right? Mind of a perfected yogi, story of determination. Okay. Okay. So connection is, having described the perfectional stage of Stanga Yoga, Krishna will now describe the activities in the practice stage. That is how to practice the method. So Hare Krishna. मतलब यहाँ बैठ जाओ, आप उसको हटा दीजिए, उसको नीचे जमीन पर रख दीजिए, and you can sit there.
Specs रह गई थी क्या?
Specs नहीं माता जी, glasses ना, चश्मा ना, नहीं माता जी, नहीं. Okay, so we'll start. Yogi unjita satatam आत्मानं रहसि स्थितः एकाकीयता चितात्मा निरासिर परिग्रह. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Okay. So what it says, all of these are instructed herewith to be constantly engaged in their practical pursuit so that they may come to the highest perfection sooner or later. The first business of a transcendentalist is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him even for a moment. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in seclusion and avoid disturbance by external objects. He should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable conditions that affect his realization. And in perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things that entangle him by feelings of possessiveness. Okay. So, here I wanted to. This is for the Astanga Yoga, but we can draw the parallel for our own. So, any of you doing the Astanga Yoga other than Shiva Prabhu? Nobody is doing the Astanga Yoga. Okay, so none of us are practicing Astanga Yoga. I was kidding. Prabhu is doing the devotional service. So in our devotional service, also it says that man mana mat bad bhakto. That will come in chapter 9. How, when we are doing the chanting, the goal is all the time we are remembering Krishna. And all the time when we are talking to a devotee, we are talking about Krishna. So there's always a remembrance of Krishna. Okay, so with this, so we can take these principles and apply in our bhakti yoga. That way, and that is the essence of bhakti yoga. It's not that we shouldn't be like a sentimentalist. We should be very practical in our practice. Okay, so we can draw the parallel that as you are going to Astanga Yoga, even though I know most of us won't be able to do Astanga Yoga. I want to say none of us, but I don't want to say none. Um, um, so but most of us won't be able to do the Astanga Yoga. But the principle from the Astanga Yoga, which is controlling the mind, how to have the remembrance, because samadhi is there's no material thoughts. So the thought should be, rather than saying no material thoughts, I'm saying our thought should be always be on Krishna. So material thoughts always goes away, because even if something is coming in the mind is occupied by Krishna. All these perfection and precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in Krishna consciousness, because direct Krishna consciousness means self-abnegation. Self-abnegation means all the negative thoughts are already gone, wherein there is a very little chance of material possessiveness. Because when I am practicing Krishna consciousness, there is no question of material possessiveness. Why? Tell me why. How this sentence is true that Krishna, when I'm doing Krishna consciousness, there is a very little chance for material possessiveness.
There's nothing that you want to keep. Everything is the God. So where is it?
Very good, because we are using everything for the service of Krishna. Everything. Even my car, home, my wife, children, all is for Krishna. How we utilize it properly, that's the more practical aspect, right? But yes. When one is not attached to anything, so this is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which has been written by Rupa Goswami. He is one of our 6 primary Goswami who wrote these books. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna. So this is a practical aspect he's telling. when one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. Did you all understood what he's telling? Yeah, right? Simple English, but understand and just try to imbibe in our life. Things are not bad. No material thing can be bad if we know how to intelligently use it for Krishna service. Okay? Even poison is useful, right? Why? When poison is useful? To treat the poison itself, poison is useful. It's a snake bite.
Yeah.
How we treat with the poison itself. A Krishna conscious person well knows that everything belongs to Krishna, and thus he is always free from feelings of personal possession. As such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in favor of Krishna consciousness and how to reject things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. He is always aloof from material things because he is always transcendental and he is always alone. So see how the Krishna conscious person is aloof. How the Krishna conscious person is aloof? This is the sentence. He's always aloof from material things because he's always transcendental and is always alone, making nothing to do with person not in Krishna consciousness. So I can be in this world, but I can be aloof if my attitude, so focus what I'm saying, if my attitude that, see, if a person is not Krishna consciousness, I'm not going to, unnecessarily deal with him. If there is a business dealing, I will do the business dealing. That's it. But I'm not going to interact, go with the party with him or go to the bowling with him. No, I don't want to do that. I want to always with Krishna conscious, with the Krishna conscious person. And while I'm doing the material things, I'm not attached to those material things. Whether success comes, failure comes, I'm doing it as a duty for Krishna. In that case, I'm aloof and I'm alone. Because, and this is the purity. Right now, we are not there yet. Okay, so I don't want you to take it very cheaply. We are not there yet, but the goal is clear. My mind should always be thinking about Krishna, right? Whatever work I am doing, and then I'm not bothered by the material things, the success of the result or the failure of the result. I'm only doing because that's my duty to please Krishna. And then while I'm dealing with other people, I'm making sure I'm not unnecessary talking with them, right? I'm only doing what is required for the service of Krishna, and then I am quiet. So basically, we say Maun Vrata. Have you heard Maun Vrata? But a lot of Maun Vrata people, what they do, they write on the paper. You have seen that? People write on the paper. That's not considered to be Maun Vrata as per our philosophy. Because your mind is speaking. Your mind is speaking. That's not Maun Vrata. Real Maun Vrata is whatever we are not talking about the material things. Whatever we talk about Krishna or Krishna's bhaktas. Radha Rani means when I'm saying Krishna, everything is included, okay? All the 5 factors I talked about. Krishna's expansion, Krishna's incarnation, Krishna devotees, and Krishna energy. All Krishna. Okay? So don't get confused there. So now 11 to 14 is basic practice of Ashtanga Yoga. सुचोदेशे प्रतिष्ठास्य
सुतोदेशे प्रतिष्ठास्य
स्थिराम आसनम आत्मनः
स्थिरम् आसनम् आत्मनः
नाति उच्चरितम नति नीचम
त्युचितं नाति नीचम्
चालाजन कुशोतरम
चैलाजिन कुशोत्तरम्
तत्र एकाग्रम मनः कृत्वा
त्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा
यथा चिन्तेन्द्रिय क्रिया
यत् चित्तेन्द्रियक्रिया
उपाविशेषेण युञ्जद्
उपविश्यन्
योगम आत्मा विशुद्धये. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place, should lay kuśa grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. So this is how the Ashtanga Yoga is done. So what sacred place, what it happens? All has to leave home and reside in a sacred place. Okay, so like such as Prayag, Mathura, so one has to go to the sacred place. But this is not possible, especially in the Western world or even in the Kali Yuga. The so-called yoga society in big cities may be successful in earning material benefit. So you know why yoga society, what Prabhupada is referring to, all the yoga studio we have, right, is successful in earning material benefit, but they are not at all suitable for the actual practice of yoga, because what we are learning in the studio is not the yoga, it's only the asana, and that too with very small part of the asana. One who is not self-controlled and whose mind is not undisturbed cannot practice meditation. So first, so it's just not the body has to come into the, with the asana, it has to become soft and flexible and sitting like in this posture. The mind has to be undisturbed. Then only I can practice meditation. Therefore, in the Naradiya Puran, it is said that in Kali Yuga, when people in general are short-lived, slow in spiritual realization, and always disturbed by various anxiety, the best means of spiritual realization is chanting the holy name of the Lord. So this is Narida Purana says, Harere Nama, Harere Nama, Harere Nama eva kevalam. Kalau nasti, eva nasti, eva nasti, eva gatir anyatha. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. You know, when with the emphasis, 3 times repeated. Otherwise, grammatically is wrong. You are repeating it. In the Sanskrit, word if is repeated, it says, oh, why you are wasting thing. But for emphasis, it is repeated 3 times. There is in the Kali Yuga, there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. 13-14. Samam kaya sirogrivam dharayan achalam sthiraha sampreksha nashikragram swam dishaschanyavalokayan prasannatma vigatabhir ब्रह्मचारी व्रत स्थितः मन संयमा मच्चित्तो युक्त आशित मत्परः. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Okay, this is how the Ashtanga Yoga practice has to happen. The yoga process is practiced in order to discover and see this localized form of Vishnu and not for any other purpose. So the Ashtanga Yoga process is, so we have the Paramatma in our heart. It is the form of Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So there are 3 Vishnus. Okay, Karunodakshaya Vishnu, Karunodakshaya Vishnu, from whom all the universes comes. And then within each universe, there is Garbhodaksha. So then the Karunodakshaya Vishnu expands and then it goes as a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And in each universe, he is there. And then he further expands and within each living entity goes as a Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Okay? That's the Paramatma we refer to.
Shirodakshaya Vishnu is considered a what do you call it?
Expansion.
Expansion?
Expansion.
Is it expansion?
Expansion.
I thought it's one of the
Incarnation.
incarnations.
You are right. You are right. Okay. So, no. You're right. So the expansion happens in Narayana. From Narayana, then They are called the three
Avesha.
yeah, it's not Avesha Avatar,
Guna
Prabhu.
Avatar.
Yeah, no. It's Purusha Avatar. Purusha Avatar. Okay, so there are three Purushas. Okay, so they are incarnation. So they are some of the things, the attributes for the pastimes are not present in them. Some of the attributes of the pastimes are not present in them. So expansion is Narayana, and from Narayana, they are considered to be incarnation. Okay, and that's the Purusha form, in the Purusha form. And there is a lot more explanation of expansion in the Sanskrit word. It is given in the other scripture. Recently, I was reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it says that there is the prakasha form. Like the more technical words are there. That when the expansion happens, also there are different kind of expansion. One expansion is which is totally identical. Other kind of expansion is where the facial expression is different. For example, when the Ras Leela happens, Krishna expands for all the gopis. There are millions of gopis. He's dancing with everyone. With every between two every gopis, there is Krishna. So that's the one kind of expansion where Krishna is identical. The other expansion is like Balramji. Balram is expansion. Narayana. Narayana is an expansion. Different forms. Right? So there are different kind of expansions. There are a lot more detailed, technical details are there. We don't need to go there. But why I mention it, we should know that our sastras are so powerful that it has all these kind of a detail which we cannot find in any other sastras. Okay.
So every person has Paramatma,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
But even animals do have.
Yes, sir. All living entity will have Paramatma. There's a soul and a super soul. Super soul is just a neutral witness. Doesn't bother us.
But the animals don't have the conscious levels of what we have.
Yes, it's covered. It's covered. So
But-
just like we are also covered, right? So we have, even though we are human beings, different humans have different kind of a coverings. Some people like, why some people are becoming like they don't care about the God at all, because they have a lot of coverings. They have a lot of desire to enjoy themselves. They just ignore. There are a lot of, so when they ignore everything, they come lot in full control of Maya Devi. You can see that if we are a magnet, right? And we attract, let's say, so this magnet is either it can attract Maya Devi or it can attract Krishna. Right now, our magnet is attracting Maya Devi. Now, if as the covering, let's say Maya Devi attracts based on certain kind of a metal, right? So our covering is certain kind of a metal. Now, if that covering is removed, the attachment from the Maya Devi magnet will become less, and I'll be getting attracted to Krishna magnet also. More covering. So you see how it inversely proportional. You can just visualize that. Okay, this is how it happens, Prabhuji. So we all human beings. 400,000 different kind of consciousness in human beings. 400,000 different kind of humans. Based on the
84 lakhs
within the 84 lakhs, 400,000.
total species.
8 million, yeah, 8.4 million types of species of life in this material manifestation in all the planetary system. Within that, there are 400,000 types of humans based on the consciousness. It's not the number of humans. So me and you can be maybe a similar consciousness. So there, if you just take that category, there are 400,000 kind of humans, and it also includes the demigods also. Okay. Okay. So further, whereas others are. Also, there's a question.
Prabhuji.
Oh, Pragya Mataji, sorry, I didn't see that you have your hand raised. Yes, please go ahead.
I had question about the plants. Does plants also have any consciousness?
Yes, Mataji, they also have the soul. And that has been proven by Jagdish Chandra Bose, our own scientist from India.
Okay.
Yes. And long time back, he proved that using scientific method. Whereas others are forced to restrain them. Yes, Mataji, you have more question?
Yeah, I'm just follow-up question that we are allowed to eat plant but not like animals. It's a difference of consciousness.
Again, repeat the question, Mataji.
Like we are allowed to eat plants but not animals.
Okay, I'll tell you. So if any time it's a very good question, okay? Anytime we eat plant or animal for my own satisfaction, it generate karma, negative karma. The higher consciousness people I eat, more karma. So higher consciousness, the does the plant has higher consciousness or the animal has higher consciousness? Animal. The animal can think, they can also express themselves, while plant cannot do that. So in that case, I get more karma for killing animals. Then you'll say that next question. Do you have a follow-up question, Mataji? I think what is the next question?
But I mean, we are born to like eat something. Otherwise, how will we have
Yeah,
our
very
body?
good. Now tell. Sridhar Prabhu is going to answer. So question is, now I have to eat something to survive. You are telling that I am going to get karma by eating the plant and the animal also. What should I eat? श्रीधर प्रभु क्या होगा हमारा?
हवा से पेट भर लो भाई।
हवा से पेट भर लो. Just tell me, serious question.
Prasadam.
Prasadam. So this is where the concept of prasadam comes, right? So we read in chapter 3, verse 13. Anything which we eat, which is not offered to the Lord, we are eating sin. So, okay, so that's the reason we offer all our food to Krishna and then eat. So next question, what is the next follow-up question?
Then what can we offer meat also?
Yes, the good. See, all the natural questions are coming. Oh, I can offer meat and I can eat. Then Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam. He says, I eat patra, pushpa, phalam. He doesn't say meetam toyam also. Because when Prabhupada came, the hippies, as they are learning, so because they're so attached to eating meat, even Prabhupada said, oh, this is how we offer. Some people started, because they're so attached to meat, they will start offering Krishna meat. So I'm eating prasad. That is not allowed. Okay? Krishna doesn't like to eat the uh, bad things, because those are like killed animals, right? The skin, everything, it is all degraded things, right? So how one should eat? So that's what. So yeah. So that's the reason we offer only plant items to Krishna, and then we eat. So in that case, Mataji, we don't get any sin.
Krishna himself is a king, right? Generally, kings do eat.
So Krishna is a god, but when Krishna, let's say, appears as a as a as a as in the on this material world, doing the role of a human, okay, as a as the king, or let's come into like as the king, do the people king eat meat? In general, not all the saintly king they were eat, but there are circumstances where one can eat meat. Let's say because you are a fighter, you are gone into the jungle, and let's say you are in an area there is no vegetation, but you have to survive, and you are a king. If you do die, what will happen to all your citizens? So in that case, if survival is the case, then there is a provision that time you can start with the lowest conscious animal. Right? The fish is there, you go for the fish. If no fish is there, you are in a desert, then you can find the animal and you try to survive on that. Okay, so there are provision. And animal killing because if you're a fighter, you have to do the target practice. So in that case, you can go and sometimes kill the animal, but it shouldn't be indiscriminate. That for my enjoyment, animal should never be killed. So there are provisions which in the appropriate time and place it can be done. Now, if people go that, oh, I'm going for the animal, I have a gun, I'm going for animal practice, that's wrong. If you want to do the gun target, do the gun target. Why you want to kill the animal for that? Right? So there's time, place, circumstances, then those rules, how it should be applied. Make sense, Prabhuji? Mataji? Pragya Mataji?
Thank you, Rapuji.
Good question, Mataji. Thank you for asking. Okay. and higher taste. Okay. So where others are forced to restrain themselves from sense gratification, a devotee of the Lord automatically refrains because of superior taste. Other than the devotee, no one has any information of that superior taste. So what superior taste? This is how we, so let's say if I have a propensity to eat meat, right? But there was once upon a time I also ate meat. There once upon a time I used to eat a lot of omelette, egg when I was bachelor especially, right? So there's a propensity. But as I started developing higher taste, then the lower taste will always automatically goes away. So the focus should not. So we are saying the point. See, between now developing the higher taste and negating the lower taste, what should be the priority?
Both.
Huh?
Both.
Ideally, if you can do both, that's wonderful. But the focus, if you have to prioritize, I say absolute priority, the focus should be develop the positive taste for Krishna. Negative taste will automatically start diminishing. It will automatically start diminishing. If you focus too much, let's say I'm too much attached to eating meat, and somebody say leave meat. Now, is it Krishna or meat? Like it becomes why to like. So first add Krishna in our life. Lower things will start going away. It's very natural. Okay, higher taste will lead to minimizing of the lower taste. But we should try. We shouldn't be, we have talked about if you add Krishna, negative will go and I keep eating meat. That's also not good. But we have to use some discrimination. It is not required, but a very strong urge. I really need to eat meat. If I don't eat, I'm always thinking about the meat. Now my mind is polluted by the meat, right? Rather, I should go eat meat and then I should go and start doing whatever service for Krishna I am doing. By doing that, slowly the propensity, they will one day you will start hating it. Why I'm eating those abominable things? Doesn't make sense. It happens to a lot of devotees who are practicing and then slowly they come out. A lot of people, when you come to this country, there are so many varieties of all this kind of a different kind of a food. I don't want to talk about meat anymore. Different kind of food. Okay. Okay. And since the ultimate goal of yoga practice is to see the Lord within, a Krishna conscious person is already the best of all yogis. Okay. Because the purpose of yoga is what? Samadhi. Samadhi is to focus on Krishna in the heart. If before reaching Samadhi, if I'm already doing all the things for Krishna, I'm already becoming a yogi. Even though I haven't reached to the Samadhi stage. But I'm practicing because even like instead of remembering 24 hours, even if you remember 2 hours, 3 hours, it's a progress. So you're already working towards being a yogi. It's a lot better than majority of the Astang yogi who's practicing in the jungle. So 15. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi nityata manasa santim nirvana paramam mat samastam adhigirchati. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. Okay, so this is talking about processes. Controlling the mind connects the soul with super soul, can be achieved by abstaining or developing higher taste also, right? So the ultimate goal in practicing yoga is now clearly explained. Yoga practice is not meant for attaining any kind of material facility. It is to enable the cessation of all material existence. So see, a lot of people who are doing the asana, hatha yoga, going to the studio, what you asked, if you talk to the most of the people, what do they say? Why they are going for yoga?
Fitness.
Fitness, which is a material thing or a spiritual thing? Material thing. What else they answer? Peace. They say, I feel happy, less anxiety. All material thing is because I am thinking in terms of me. I am feeling peace. I am less anxiety. What is the goal here written? Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God by cessation of material existence. So the goal is to attain the kingdom of the God by cessation of material existence. It is telling that the purpose of yoga is to achieve spiritual enlightenment, not to gain in terms of the material facility. So we are using even the one of the stages, which is asana, the purpose is to achieve the higher thing. But where we are focusing on the lower thing. So we can do so much by using this practice, but because our goal is very like short-sighted goal, we don't achieve the higher purpose. So one who seeks an improvement in health or aspires after material perfection is no yogi according to Bhagavad Gita. One who seeks an improvement in health or aspires after material perfection is no yogi according to Bhagavad Gita. But that doesn't, but now you say, oh, Prabhuji, should we not do any health care? Looking after the health is good. What is the intent? What should be the right intent for looking after the health?
Then only we can practice Krishna.
Very good, because our body is a instrument which has been given to us. So we have to use this to serve the Lord. If it is unfit, I cannot use it. Right? So we take proper care, nourish it properly. But if I'm doing a lot of bodybuilding, how do I look? I look as yes. So this defeats the purpose, right? A consummate yogi who is perfect in understanding Lord Krishna, as is clearly stated herein by the Lord himself, which is mat chitta mat para mat sthanam, can attain real peace and can ultimately reach his supreme abode, Krishna Loka, known as Goloka Vrindavan. So, consummate yogi, what does it mean?
Perfect.
Yeah, who is totally submitted, who is totally. So we use the word, I consummated my marriage. So where the wife completely submitted to the husband, right? So the consummate yogi, think like, so that is very important. How the wife submits to husband. Similarly, a yogi submits completely everything what he has to Krishna. It's very deep meaning. Okay. As is clearly stated herein by the Lord himself. So all mind, senses. So when wife has submitted to the husband, she submits with all like mind, body, thoughts. Now they are two body, but one, we say that it's like two person, but one body, right? We say sometimes. So similarly, yogi is completely consummated by thought of Krishna. He is in Krishna. And that person can attain real peace and can ultimately reach his supreme abode, which is Krishna Loka, which is also known as Goloka Vrindavan. Further in Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated, Goloka eva nivastiti akhil atma bhutah. The Lord, although residing always in his abode called Goloka, is the all-pervading Brahman and the localized Paramatma as well by dint of his superior spiritual energy. So Lord is not that Lord is Paramatma, then Lord doesn't exist in the Goloka Vrindavan. Lord is in Goloka Vrindavan also. Lord is right now in Vishnu form also. Lord is Nrsimhadev also. They're all existing simultaneously. And simultaneously is existing as the super soul. So Lord, inconceivable potency, which we don't have. So we should never try to equate ourselves from that perspective with the God, but qualitatively in our nature, we are similar to God. We are also Anand Seekam. We are also looking for the bliss. We are also eternal. We also seek knowledge. Okay. Verse 16. Na, natyasnatostu yogosti na chak antam asasnatah न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुना. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. So it's a balanced life. How one has to live the balanced life. Everything has to be done properly. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cooks for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eats only sin. Mataji, this is the verse, right? We are talking about. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 13. Anyone who eats for sense pleasure or cooks for himself, not offering his food to Krishna, eats only sin. The Krishna conscious person observes fasting as it is recommended in the scripture. So why we do fasting, Ekadashi? Just to, as a austerity, because that, and then we do the austerity, I'm not doing and feeling proud, I did the fasting. It is for pleasing Krishna, because while I'm not, because see, whenever I'm cooking, eating, I'm spending time cooking and eating everything. But when I live the simple life that day, either I don't eat at all, or if I'm eating fruits, or maybe I'm eating non-grain thing, quinoa, right? Simple eating. But the goal is to think more about Krishna. So that is the goal. And once we start practicing it, our life every day then will become like Ekadashi. Then every day, because we are trying to think more Krishna, more Krishna. So these are the Ekadashi comes as a practice to increase our bhakti towards Krishna. So we all, Vaishnava, lover of Krishna, should observe Ekadashi.
So Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhuji.
so the purpose of the fasting, if I understood correctly, is not about any cleansing or anything. It's more about because you spend time cooking and doing chores and stuff, but focusing more on Krishna that day.
Yes,
Is
Prabhu.
that what I
Yes,
understood?
yes, Prabhu, you heard exactly correct. But what happens in the process, there is more internal cleansing. See, when I say internal cleansing, our mind is always thinking too many things. But when we eat sattvic food, and you can observe in your life, when you go and eat out in the restaurant, and you will feel a lot of thoughts coming. But if you eat food cooked by your wife, which has been offered to the Lord, you are much at peace. And you can observe, just become a little more observant, and you will notice the difference. And the
So
more,
side effect.
it's a side effect.
The
Thank
main
you.
effect is
Main effect is thinking about Krishna. That the inner cleansing is side effect. That is going to happen. It's a side effect, because when I'm eating medicine, something is happening inside me. Yeah, right? Yeah.
So if you're not thinking about Krishna on the breath, if you're only thinking about food that I've
The-
eaten food,
yes.
and let me, like the next day I'm going to eat this and this,
Yes.
then there is no benefit.
No, rather than don't do the fasting, because mind is occupied with food.
The food.
Food.
It's
Right?
probably better to just
Eat whatever. Yeah, better to eat food and.
you were spending 30 minutes thinking about Krishna that day.
Yeah.
Now you didn't even spend any time
Yes.
because you were constantly thinking about
Yes,
food.
yes. And that's the reason why there is a provision that at least people who are not there yet, they can eat the non-grain food, right? Because in the grain on that day, and there is a story in Bhagavatam that when um, Parikshit Maharaj came to kill Kali, personified Kali, and Kali got very scared. She said that, where should I go and sit? So then he gave him the permission that you can be on like you can be in the gold. So there are 5 places he said. Gold is one of the places, the brothel, right? All those places like where we should not go, those are where the Kali sits. And then on this day within the grains. Okay, so yeah, so that's we should just go and eat plenty of fruits or plenty of quinoa or any fasting food, whatever it is, we should eat, right? But the main thing is focusing on Krishna. But let's say for whatever reason, I am not satisfied with eating even quinoa. I'm just craving for the food. It's better to go eat food rather than not think about Krishna. Any day, higher principle. We should always think about the higher principle. What is the goal? Some old people, they cannot eat, they have to eat the normal food because whatever is required. It's not that they have to be suffered, right? They shouldn't suffer. The focus should be on the principle. Okay, but if we can do it, let's do it. Okay, Krishna has given us the body to do it. Let's do that.
Is that the idea behind having the meal at the end of the day, having one meal, so that you don't have to do for the beginners, you don't have to do it for that long? Sometimes, like people eat in the evening.
Only one meal.
Only one meal.
So yeah, so see,
Oh, there is something else.
no. The principle is the same. See, slowly, if I can remove the time which is going to waste, which is spending time on too much of cooking and too much of eating time, right? I just want to focus more on Krishna and more on Krishna. Then what is the minimal I can do? So some people, so it says that if you eat 3 times is a bhogi, 2 times is a yogi, and 1 time is
3 times
something.
is Rogi, Prabhu. 3 times
Rogi,
is
thank
Rogi.
you. 3 times Rogi, 2 times yogi, and one
Bhogi.
Bhogi
to
and one times yogi.
yogi.
Yogi. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Punya Prabhu. Okay. So anyway, when we eat less, then the tummy has to digest less, right? So the more energy then goes into nourishing the cells, the broken cells. That is the science behind it. So the 16-hour fasting, intermittent fasting. So the same principle, right? Because people cannot do fasting all the time. 16 hours is a good. That's how you see in the previous days, it is automatically 16 hours because you don't eat after sunset.
36.
What, Roji?
36 hours.
16 hours intermittent fasting people do.
Intermittent.
Yeah. So in the olden days when we didn't have the electricity, people will eat before the sun sets.
Yeah.
Right? So if the sun is setting at 6, 7, I ate already. Then morning, I go, there was no fridge, all right. People will go and get they will do their morning sadhana and all, and they will eat around 10 a.m. Right? So automatically becomes 16 hours. So if we follow the regulated life, automatically it becomes 16 hours. You don't even need to try. But the purpose is again, the body is focusing on minimum energy of the body is focused on nourishing the body, bringing the cells to the higher level. So the body is healthy. When the body is healthy, I can do more seva, and body is healthy, then I can focus more on Krishna. The purpose is focus on Krishna. The whole lifestyle is focus on Krishna. Okay, 17. Yuktahara viharasya. Yukta chesatasya karmashu. Yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukhaha. He who is regulated in habits in eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Very practical advice. He who is regulated in habits of eating, sleeping, recreation means mating, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. So recreation, Prabhupada used a more generic term. So even like, okay, everybody needs little enjoyment, but it has to be regulated, right? Regulated. And the devotee even like, so they say, okay, my all recreation is with Krishna. So they also recreate. So we do like the devotee eat. They do a lot of feasting. They eat a lot prasad. We should minimize though, but yeah, we eat a lot of prasad. Devotee dance for Krishna. They celebrate a festival for Krishna. So they are doing recreation. Recreation. So it's not that recreation is prohibited. For whom you are doing recreation, right? For the self. Even if somebody is doing for the self, as a good habit, try to balance it. So this is somebody would like to read it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sacrifice food. Lord Krishna is offered, according to Bhagavad Gita, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, etc. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption, or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, as Krishna consciousness person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avyartha kalavatam. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Further down?
Yeah.
Therefore, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His ideal in this respect is Srila Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Thakur of Haridasa would not even accept prasadam nor even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads 300,000 names.
300,000 times 192 rounds. So So basically, he's chanting throughout the day. Only this, if you just do the calculation, even do the, like probably he's just getting 2 hours to sleep.
What?
Yes. And these are the people who were there just a few hundred years ago.
As far as the work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with a Krishna's interest. And thus his work is always regulated and is unattained by sense gratification.
Untainted.
Untainted, sorry. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery
for him. It's a very practical purport. So that's the reason we read the whole thing. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay. So perfectional stage of yoga. Okay. So 18 to 23 is perfectional stage of yoga. So this is the advanced stage, Yoga Ruddha. Yada viniyatam chittam Atmane eva vatistate Nishpraha Sharva Kamebhyo Yukta iti uchyate tada. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desire, he is said to be well established in yoga. So what the yogi, by practicing his yoga, disciplines his mental activity. So mentally he's like totally focused on Krishna and becomes situated in transcendence. So transcendence, of course, he subdues his mental activity and is focusing on completely on the transcendence, devoid of all material desires. So there is no material desires. He is said to be well established in yoga. So the activities of the yogi are distinguished from those of an ordinary person by his characteristic cessation from all kinds of material desires, of which sex is the chief. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activity of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in his activities of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. Anybody would like to read this paragraph?
King Ambrish first of all engaged his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then, one after another, he engaged his words in describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, his hands in mopping the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing of the activities of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotees, his sense of smell in smelling the scents of the lotus flowers offered to the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaf offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage and temple of the Lord, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in executing the mission of the Lord. All these transcendental activities are quite befitting a pure devotee.
So Maharaj Amrish is a story comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, and he is one of the example where all our senses can be engaged in the service of the Lord. So this is the example of that. He was a king. He was the ruler of the whole Bharatvarsha. How he was, so these are ostently kings, right? How he engaged all his senses in serving the Lord and taking care of his citizens, right? While he had the big treasury and the big army and everything, he was not attached, and a lot of queens, lot of beautiful queens, but he was not attached, right? So that's because the purpose is to serve the Lord. Anybody would like to read the other highlighted here?
Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet.
Prabhuji, Mataji is reading here. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji. Sorry.
As the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, these prescribed activities are called archana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. The senses and the mind require engagements. Simple abnegation is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in the renounced order of life, transcendental engagements of the senses and the mind, as described above, is the perfect process of transcendental achievement, which is called yukta in the Bhagavad Gita.
Very good. So it is calling about the yukta vairagya. So vairagya is also renunciation. So we say, hey, I have to renunciate the material activities, then I can become the yogi, right? So here one can become yogi by using the material object, but only for the service of Krishna, one can become the yogi. So that is the example. And why it is practical and why this is the limb of bhakti yoga? Because bhakti yoga is to serve Krishna in affection and love. If I'm using everything for the service of Krishna in love, then I'm not getting any karmic balance. And everything is becoming an offering to Krishna. So it is a yajna. I'm doing the yajna, using my material things, using all my relationship for the pleasure of the Lord. Okay, that's called Yukta Vairagya, and that is the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so now we will go to the verse 19. So now, so this is the practice how one can practice the Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. Now, how is the mind of a perfect yogi? How it is work? So this is what 19 to further verses will be talking about. Just as a lamp just as a lamp in a windless place does not waver, right? This is how the stable mind is considered. Just like if you have the lamp, the candle, and the light doesn't move in the windless, that's exactly how the mind has to become stable. So and then Arjuna says, what is the final realization? Once you have that kind of a mind, what is the final realization? So it's unlimited divine bliss, freedom from all misery, right? So this is the purpose. Once the mind is totally stable, it is one get unlimited divine bliss and freedom from all misery. And these are all the side effects. Well, later you'll know that these are all the side effects. So how can one reach this stage? Mind is so flickering. Arjuna is telling his mind is so flickering. How can I achieve this stage? So Krishna is telling that is true. However, practice yoga with determination and faith. Abandon all material desires born from mind. Whenever and wherever the mind wanders, bring it back under control. You will see some verses how to control the mind in this chapter. So people who give the talk on the mind control, a lot of time they use that verse. So controlling the mind is a science. It takes practice for this. First, consider yourself separate from the mind, then try to control it. So if you think that I am the mind, then I won't be able to control. I have to think that hey, today my mind is troubling a lot, and start using that sentence. Don't say today I am totally stressed. Rather say that today my mind is totally stressed out. Today my mind is lot in anxiety. So start first separating it out. Then we'll be able to realize more about the mind, and then I will be able to use the technique to bring the mind in the calm state. Mind, why are you worried? I think this is the problem. I think I can solve this. These are things, the different things which I haven't tried. I think if I try it, then probably I can solve it. Then the mind will become like more positive, right? So first try to separate out the mind from ourself, because I am not mind. I am a soul. Okay, so verse 19. 18 to 23, so we'll go up to 23, perfectional stage of yoga. So 18, 19 will talk about, here you see the notes, perfection in Ashtanga yoga. Yukta involves disciplining mental activities or consciousness, okay, being fixed in the self, all the transcendence, and devoid of all material desires. So three things: disciplinary mental activities or conscious. So the mind has to bring disciplined. Then being fixed in the self or transcendence. So the focus is more on the Paramatma. So focus is on the Paramatma, mind is stable and devoid of material desire. So it's not that devoid of desire. Desire will always be there. Devoid of material desire, right? And that is the example of the windless place, right? Which it was talking about. So verse 19. Yatha dipo nivatastho Nangate sopama smrita. Yogino yata chitasya. Vinjato yogam atmanaha. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. Okay? On the transcendent self. 2023. Yato parmamate chittam nirudham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatma atra chaivamat chaivat atma atmanam पाश्यानम आत्मनि तुष्यति सुखम आतयंतिकम यत्तद् बुद्धिग्रहम अतीन्द्रियम वेति यत्र न चैवम स्थितश्चलति तत्वतः यम लब्ध्वा चापरम लभ्यम मन्यते नाधिकम ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुनापि विचाल्यते तम विदद् दुःख संयोगा वियोगम योगा समंजितः. So it says, in the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind. So the stage one, first to see the self by the pure mind. Second, to relish and rejoice in the self. Okay, that's the second happens. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness. Third thing. And then what happens? Realized through transcendental senses. Same thing, okay? Established thus one never departs from the truth. That is the fourth. Established thus one never departs from the truth. And upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Number 5. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken. Number 6. Even in the midst of greatest difficulty, this indeed is actual freedom from all misery arising from material contact. So why one get the misery? You can now go into the reverse. Because we are always shaken, so we are worried about something. We think about the gain and loss. So whether I'm going to get a gain or a loss. So of course misery. I'm thinking whether I'm truth, there should I see the truth? Should I speak the lie? What is more beneficial to me? Of course, there will be sometimes I'll be in misery. Okay. I'm looking for the material happiness. Material happiness, the nature of material happiness is goes like a summer and winter season. So there will be, right? And I'm not rejoicing in self. I'm rejoicing in the things, what I get, what I didn't get. I'm thinking of I and mine. So I'll have the misery. And my mind is always thinking and planning so many things. I'll be in misery. If you just take the opposite of that which is being taught here, then one is free from all the misery. Make sense? So this is the result of doing the Ashtanga Yoga in a proper way. So realization in perfectional samadhi or Ashtanga Yoga consciousness completely restrained from material mental activities. So here the 7 points which we just talked about. One can see the self by pure mind and be satisfied with it. One gets boundless spiritual bliss by spiritual intelligence, not material senses. One is never deviated from the truth of one's spiritual nature. Having obtained this, he thinks there is no greater gain, and situated in full determination, one is never shaken even in the greatest difficulty. Okay, this state of samadhi or trance is the real freedom from all material miseries. So these are the characteristic of samadhi. Okay, this is the characteristic of samadhi. So samadhi is not, oh, what is samadhi? So here is a total characteristic which is given in Bhagavad Gita.
What is the reason to combine these slokas?
Because they are all related, Prabhuji.
But
See,
the entire chapter is related.
yeah, so but see, when the topics, so when the all this, so if you just try to separate, right, and you read each, right, so let's say the first if the yato paratma chittam, okay, and it goes to tushyati. Now you see word by word what has happened in that state of affairs. Sees mental activities. So it's the first verse is talking about seizing the mental activity. Okay, then it's telling, okay, once you seize, what happens? You'll get the sukham. So Prabhupada could have written just like that also, but he thought that by combining these four verses here, the meaning becomes very related. It's much more easier to understand. So as a teacher, he thought that I can combine it. So it's a style of writing that I can combine. There is no hard and fast rule that there's no Sanskrit grammar which determines that.
Okay, got it.
Okay, yeah. In fact, the Sanskrit, when Sanskrit is written, you see yatro parmate, and then there's a gap chittam, nirudha, yoga, sevaya. If you look the original one, there won't be even any gap. It will be like one line. Then you have to use the sandhi rule to separate it out. For us, it has been even separated out. Okay. Okay. So who can read these first paragraph? This first paragraph, who hasn't read yet?
After nirvana, material cessation, there is the manifestation of spiritual activities or devotional service to the Lord, known as Krishna consciousness. In the words of the Bhagavatam, Swarupena Maya Vishtist, this is the real life of the living entity. Maya or illusion is the condition of spiritual life contaminated by material infection. Liberation from this material infection does not mean destruction of the original eternal position of the living entity. Patanjali also accepts this by his words, Kavilam Sarupa Pratishtha Va Chiti Sakti Iti. This Sthiti Sakti or transcendental pleasure is real life. This is confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra as Anandamayo Payasat. This natural transcendental pleasure is the ultimate goal of yoga and is easily achieved by execution of devotional service or bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga will be vividly described in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you, Mother. See, so this aphorism, the 12th aphorism of Vedanta Sutra, as Anandomayo Bhyasat, because this is our internal nature. We all want to be completely in bliss. So when the mind is stable, we are cleansed inward, we are always thinking about the real self, then one get that to that stage, and that stage is called Nirvana. Okay? Nirvana. You might have heard this word Nirvana. Punya Prabhu would like to read the second paragraph.
Yes, Prabhu. In the yoga system, as described in this chapter, there are two kinds of samadhi called sampragnata samadhi and asampragnata samadhi. When one becomes situated in the transcendental position by various philosophical researchers, he is said to have achieved sampragnata samadhi. In the asampragnata samadhi, there is no longer any connection with the mundane pleasure. For one is then transcendental to all sorts of happiness derived from the senses. When the yogi is once situated in that transcendental position, he is never shaken from it. Unless the yogi is able to reach this position, he is unsuccessful. Today's so-called yoga practice, which involves various sense pleasures, is contradictory. A yogi indulging in sex and intoxication is a mockery. Even those yogis who are attracted by the siddhis in the process of yoga are not perfectly situated. If yogis are attracted by the products of yoga, then they cannot attain the stage of perfection, as is stated in this verse. Persons therefore indulging in the make show practice of gymnastic feats or siddhis should show that the aim of yoga is lost in that way.
Thank you,
Should
Prabhu.
know that the
The-
aim of
yeah.
yoga is lost in that way.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So see, it is very amply clear. So many times, even now Mahakumbh is happening. A lot of people, they are just not going to take the dip. They're also going to see all those yogi siddhis, because a lot of these sadhus have come, and a lot of them, they know the mystic siddhis. They can bring the stuff. Oh, you want the apple from Kashmir? Zoop, take. Vibhuti from here, book, right? So a lot of people, they go, but those things is not the perfectionist stage. In the process, once somebody is looking for the achieving the love of Krishna, all those things happen as a byproduct. A devotee is never attached to the byproduct. If I'm driving a scooter or a car and the gas is coming from it, I'm attached to the gas? No, I'm focused on the car, driving the car. So the devotees are not attracted to those things. But the people who have not lost the complete urge of the senses, they get attached to the, while they were practicing it, then they get the siddhi. Now they're attached to the siddhis. So you saw that what the yogi has to do, and here yogi including in sex and intoxication, because there are a lot of people like some of the devotee in certain sect, they drink the intoxicant because telling that my God drinks the intoxicant, but he was the God, right? And he drank the all the wish, right? So and he can hold it. So if he can drink, so he was able to do that, so he can drink the intoxicant. That's totally fine. That was the purpose. But if I just try to copy him, and I cannot drink the wish, but I want to drink the intoxicant, that's wrong, right? Similarly, you see there are some so-called saint who said that if you have so much of sex, then you will lose the interest in the sex. That is not the authoritative uh, uh, position. Yes, that is not authoritative, because what Shastra says that this sex urge never goes away. Even if there's an 80-year-old man who cannot do the thing, still will have the urge to go and do it. So the desire never goes away if you keep putting the fuel in the fire. So those are the practices which people created just for their own sense gratification. It's not sastric. Okay, so at this point, we will stop. Any question? Yes, Mataji.
If we practice yoga, so what we expect, like no desire or to have control on the desires. Like if desires we have, everybody has desire. So desires still there, but because we are practicing yoga, so we have a control over our like if any bad desire or any materialistic desire or something is like coming, but we have control over that.
So you're talking about the Ashtanga yoga, you're talking about the Bhakti yoga? Bhakti yoga, okay. Okay. So even the Ashtanga, because the Ashtanga yoga chapter, first I'll talk to Ashtanga yoga, then I'll talk about the Bhakti yoga. So Ashtanga yoga, what he said, no material desire. Right? So it's telling no material desire. It doesn't say that no spiritual desire. So one can have the spiritual desire. But of course, the Ashtanga yoga is about the negation. So it says material desire and then try to keep your mind free. That's what it's talking about. Right? It's saying like, don't while in the Bhakti yoga, it is saying that principle is negating the material desire. So what the Bhakti yoga does, it replaces with the spiritual desire. So that way, keeping the principle intact, it replaces with the spiritual desire. And why this is better? Because what is the ultimate goal of samadhi? The focus on the Paramatma. That is in samadhi. While I am in the beginner stage itself in the bhakti yoga, I am practicing remembering the Krishna. Right? So that's the reason why by the end of this chapter, I don't want to take the thunder away. You will see what the Krishna says at the end of the chapter. Okay? He will discuss this and then he will say something very nice. Okay. Should we end it, right? Or do you want to go a little longer? End is fine or longer?
End is fine.
End is fine? Okay, Balu Prabhuji.
Sorry.
Okay, Prabhu. Any other question? Balu Prabhu, things are making sense. You want to become a Stang Yogi now?
Yes, I am interested. So
okay, see, Balu Prabhu is the Stang Yogi.
No, come on. It's a lot of practice.
It's good to know the principle. Yes, yeah, it's good to know the principle. Yeah.
I like the concept.
Yes, yes. We should look the concept and then we can apply the concept in our practice, okay? In the Bhakti Yoga practice. Not that we should take some practice from Karma Yoga, some from Jnana Yoga, some from Astanga Yoga, some from Bhakti Yoga and make our own yoga system. That is asastric. Okay? Asastric. गौरव प्रभु जी कुछ क्वेश्चन है प्रभु जी? आप हमेशा अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, कुछ पूछिए. प्रज्ञा माता जी, एनी क्वेश्चन? प्रभु गौरव प्रभु कुछ क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ रहे हैं.
My focus is only just twofold right now. It's just having a better control of mind. That is one, and just just keep focusing on as you mentioned, just on the day-to-day activities. Just focusing on the God.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Just keeping it very simple.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. And that's the right thing. So some of the things which you can practice, which is like while you are even at work, whenever you get knowingly try to think of Krishna while you are like even working. Just remember Krishna in your mind. If you see somebody, something reminds you of Krishna or anything, just think about Krishna. Yeah. Slowly, what will happen more and more while you're working also, you'll think Krishna. Many times in my, like in the morning when I get connected on the Teams, in my heart, I say Hare Krishna to them. But in the morning, the only thing I have to control that sometimes it doesn't come out, right? So slowly, yes, so very, very simple thing. You're very right. You're doing the right thing by just thinking that how I can bring more of Krishna in my thought. Other things will just happen automatically.
Yeah, there are things that I don't know if it's just related or not related. I don't know if you remember, like, back in the day, I think once I said, like, I think about food all the time because I just like to eat. For the last few weeks or months. So I eat food, of course. I like when I eat food, but I'm not thinking about it. So that's one.
Very good.
And the second is, it's less about like, I want to eat this or that or this. Whatever is there. Most of the time, and sometimes I'm still like a little picky, but most of the time I would say like 70-80% of the time, which used to be less than 10% of the times, I just eat whatever is there.
Very nice. Very nice.
Krishna is stealing.
So and how that happened? Like it happened automatically, or you are just being just okay?
It just gradually happened. I didn't.
Very.
Say I did something by myself. Yes. I think it all happened automatically. Yes. I didn't put the effort to do it.
See. So this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, right? Like, and now if you now start becoming grateful to Krishna for this, you will see even further acceleration. Krishna will see, oh, now this person is thinking, and then you will have wonderful experiences also in your heart.
You're like, I have a message that I have to get food for my daughter. But back in the day, I would just, of course, start thinking about what am I going to eat? I was about to respond like, yeah, I can get it for them, but I'm going to eat at home.
Oh, very good. Very good. Wonderful projects. Thank you for sharing. Please do share these things because even I see some of the people, they are watching online. I see the number of time people have watched because when you upload the video, you can see the number of time people watch. So there are, I think, 8 or 10 people who constantly is watching because I see the constant number of all the videos. So these things, when people are listening, it just motivates them also, to everyone. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
anybody?
Go ahead. Possibly share.
Yes, probably.
When we talked about the mala and stuff, I still haven't been able to do it. But like not waiting for the perfect time, like I just said, like think about like, if I'm taking a shower, so I'm taking Krishna's name, or if I'm like working and thinking about like taking a 5-minute break, just go get the water. Within that 5 minutes, I can, because that time I'm not doing anything.
Right.
So like if I'm like driving back home now, so I have like 15 minutes of driving back home. Of course, if you can do the mala, but see the intent of the Prabhu is, as I think about it, it's not about the perfect count. I don't know, I could be wrong. Like take an example, if you have that many beads in the mala, right? But even if I don't do the intent is not to do the mala, right? Of course, the intent is to do the mala, right? It's not a replacement for it. But if I can just, on the way back, and if even without the mala, I can call the names, I don't think Krishna is going to mind it like, hey, you didn't do the mala properly, and then you called my name without doing it properly, right?
Very good.
Because the intent is there.
Very good. Very good. In fact, what we are going to read, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Right? All the time we should be remembering Krishna. So Mala prescribed number of rounds.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we should do that. But then the intent is always remember Krishna. So you are right now practicing always remembering Krishna. Either 5 minutes, 2 minutes. That's the right thing, right mood. At the same time, yes, that doesn't replaces the doing the sitting and doing the chanting. That should be there.
Yeah.
And that will happen. So those both the things can go in parallel. Right? I did not be what you're saying. I'm not perfect in doing my chanting on the mala, but I am remembering Krishna all the time. I'm trying to remember Krishna all the time. Perfect.
Because
Wonderful.
if I do it, then I have 24 hours.
Yes. Yes.
I can do it while walking. I
Yes.
can do it while working in office.
Yes.
I
And
can
slowly.
do it like when I'm eating because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can do it for more number of times.
Yes, yes. And slowly what will happen? You will get an intent that I would like to even sit and do the chanting also, right? So both the things will happen. And you'll see a lot of devotees, like especially the devotee who live at my house, we can observe, like for example, Harivams Prabhu. You met Harivams Prabhu,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Harivams Prabhu. He's a PhD guy who's gone and settled in Vrindavan. So all the time he's carrying his bead bag and even he's talking, he'll chanting. So it's not that he hasn't finished his round. 24 hours chanting. And
Harivamsha Prabhu.
Who did the event at Goloka Farm? You were there? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here for a week and
again he will come in June. He will come in June. You will meet him. He's the IIT topper, JEE topper.
Wow.
JEE topper.
Topper?
Yeah, JEE topper.
Wow.
Okay, in his class he was a topper. Then then he came and did the PhD from Stanford. There also he got the Marconi Award, which is like a Nobel Prize for the technical work, right? So genius, right? That guy, he after that he coming while he was doing PhD, he came in contact with the Bhagavad Gita, and then he said, "What I am doing?" Right? So he did his startup and did it for 7, 8 years. Then he left everything.
Oh,
Closed
he's the one who created the Goloka. Yeah.
No, वो माधव चंद्र प्रभु है वो माधव चंद्र प्रभु he's
I
here
talked to him.
he's here, yes, the one Madhav Chandra Prabhu, he's here.
Okay.
He's here. Okay, so this is a different Prabhu. So then he left his job as a professor in University of Washington, and then he went back and living in Vrindavan because he was born in Vrindavan. His mother comes from Vrindavan side. Yeah. So and there he's writing books, doing all those sadhana and all. So you'll see that these devotees who are like senior not by age, senior by practice. He's very young, much younger to me. Maybe younger to you also. Yes, he's younger to you also. He's like 35, 38.
Wow.
Yeah. And he didn't marry. Like he just focused on the sadhana. So once we get that inclination, so he's chanting. The question why I mentioned it, he's chanting all the time. So yes, initially we can remember the Lord without counting, but then habit will happen because our Goswamis, they used to always count. So like, and the logic is anything important, we count. Money we count. How much saving we have count. How many $1 million you have in bank, right? So we count because this is the most important thing, the counting habit. Harivilas Maharaj, our temple leader, he doesn't do the counting. He's when he's chanting, he doesn't move the beat 16 round. He just make the what do you call that?
Cross.
Yeah, the cross marker like this 4, and then you do fifth.
Right.
What it is?
Tally.
He's the tally. He used the tally marker. So counting is important. Means how you're counting is doesn't matter.
This was my question today. Actually, last time when I told you that I do it on my finger for the second time.
Right.
Morning in my prayer time, I do chant on mana. But evening, if I don't get, if I'm on a walk or something, and it is like usual, I'm dropping my kids everywhere.
Yeah.
I saw this change in some time that instead of singing songs now, all the time doing Hare Krishna. Like I don't know, it's coming on its own while talking, while everywhere.
Krishna is
like,
very
I'm
merciful.
doing right, or I should be sitting and doing it only.
No. Satam Kirtanam. You can chant anytime, sleeping, going to bathroom, taking shower, walking. Anytime you can remember Krishna. There is no sin for that. It is only beneficial. Only beneficial. And you're seeing the reward already, that you're not even trying, but you're telling. Same Gaurav Prabhu was telling that, I don't know, his inclination is going down, which he always thought that is not a good inclination, right? So it will happen, Prabhu Mataji.
In this, because for food thing also, I left onion garlic during Navratri. We don't take usually. So when we were taking these classes, so I just thought that let me continue. But naturally, if my whole family is on the track, they are like everyone is okay with the food which I'm cooking without onion garlic. They are
Already happening is right,
yeah, so they
automatically.
are like it's giving us also something we don't know, but we are feeling good.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Thank you for sharing, Mataji. Thank you so much. These are all the wonderful things that happens in our life. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. All right, we'll end the class. I see online learning. Slowly people are moving away. So let's end the class so nobody feels that they are missing on anything. All right, stop recording. Hari Bol. Punya Prabhu, did you find